We are live.
Hey Kushal, thank you so much for joining Samyak and I on Thinking Out Loud podcast. Both of us are super stoked to have you here. And again, it's the eve, not the eve, but the day following your 24th birthday. So we are, very excited to hear those insights as well along with your journey. So thank you so much for taking out time, Kushal.
Thanks, Samar. Thanks, Samyak, for having me. I think it's like a privilege for me to be a part of this episode, and I hope I can add as little value as possible to anyone who's watching this.
Thank you. So, Kushal, just to kickstart the conversation, right? Like, we want to understand that your journey of achieving so much by the age of 24, right? Like being all India rankers to working at Aditya Birla. We want to hear the story from your mouth. Like, how has the journey been till now?
Right. To be honest, I mean, I don't think I've achieved anything as of now. There's like a long way to like I have a lot of things in my mind, and like in terms of bucket list ki yaar ye tick mark karna hai aage aage jaake. But I think answering your question, the journey has been more than amazing. It's because of sheer support of all my friends, all my like relatives, etc., and my parents, of course. Like this has been possible. But I think beyond that, the best part about my entire journey has been that everything has happened like at the right time, at the right place. वो बोलते हैं ना, like things should happen at the right time, at the right place. I think that has been happening with me, and that's why sometimes I also feel that I'm very lucky as a person. I'll give you a few instances also. Like for example, I let's say never fell ill during my CA final leave period for 4.5 months, and therefore I studied for 12 hours a day consecutively, and ended up getting an All India rank 5 in my CA final. So I think I got like lucky in terms of not falling sick, because I mean I wanted to study, and I just gave my exams with very good set of preparation as well. Of course there was hard work, but I'm trying to say that luck has always been in my favor. Then secondly, I think in Aditya Birla Group also, this is an interesting story by the way. So I was waitlisted as a candidate, and there were total 30 people who were selected for the interview. I was the 31st, by the way, in the online assessment test. And after that there was one dropout. So I had messaged the HR that agar koi dropout hoga to mere ko please select kar lena, look at my resume. I think I'll be able to do justice if I join Aditya Birla Group. And luckily there was one dropout at the day of the interview, and I got a call ki okay, you have been selected and you'll have to appear for the interview today in the second half. And I was like, oh wow, this is like a dream come true moment for me. And again, I think this is like again getting lucky, because agar koi ek banda drop out nahi karta, तो I don't think I would have gotten a chance to sit for the interview as well. And not only this, I think even let's say content creation, if you talk about that, I started during COVID, and COVID mein the digital transformation was happening crazy, and you also know like the content consumption, the social media consumption, all the like all the content things were booming very fast. So that's the reason I got a boom on my YouTube, and then I started diverting my audience from YouTube to Instagram as well as LinkedIn, so that I thought that let's also try to share our thoughts on different social media platforms. So that's been like a good journey for me. I worked at Aditya Birla Group for 2 years. I quit my job fairly recently, few months back, started my own venture as of now, and I'm writing a couple of books, one which was launched yesterday on my 24th birthday, titled Racing Sea, and the one which is expected to launch in August 2023, which is on unicorn founders interviews and their success stories, called as Unicorn Secret, and parallelly trying to scale my social media presence as well. So yeah, all in all, I feel very satisfied when I go to bed, and I think I sleep within a minute, because it's like a very hectic day every day, and that's the best part of the life. I think if you can sleep peacefully and happily, that's the best way to define happiness.
Totally agree. I think at 24, a lot of things which you're doing or you've already done, a lot of people they don't do their entire lives, and it's inspirational. Kushal. It's not, we're not saying it just for the sake of it, but things achieving at this age, having your own content platforms across, having a great following, quitting your job, taking this full time, which a lot of people don't take that risk, doing 2 books at this age, because it's generally during the later part of the 30s 35 that they want to write books, share experiences and do all those things. So but all of these things, you kind of took that risk and build a content behemoth, so as to say, right? So it's actually very inspirational for our listeners, obviously. But again, you are from Nasik, and I think one of our dear friend Gaurav is also from Nasik, and
Yes.
I think you guys share the same story from Nasik to Mumbai, and working now in different domains.
The only difference is that he's doing much better in his life as compared to me.
Yeah, I would put you guys at the same spot, because even we had Gaurav, on our podcast, and the
Okay.
I feel one of the best stories we've heard from him. How he was at this Bits Pilani. They tried to do various things. He had one goal for every semester, and stuff like that. So I think it was that also was really inspirational. And now he's with Stova School. So I mean,
Right.
coming from Nasik, like it's not a I would say metro city or a very big city. It's a
Yeah,
tier two
correct.
city. So how do you kind of build that confidence? Because Mumbai, when you compare it to Nasik, even though if it's in the same region, it's just life is different. Life is faster. People are not. I wouldn't say. Not great, but I would say it's not as warm as Nasik, because you are closely knit there. Your family, friends, everyone
Right.
stays here. Being a big city, you face a lot of difficulties when someone moves here, for the first time. And I have faced it myself. I was from Kolkata. Even though it's a metro city, the exposure is really very less to what it was in what it is in Mumbai. So how did you kind of walk your way through, got into Aditya Birla, had that confidence that you can crack it, come what may?
Right. I think confidence is something which has been gradually coming up. Matlab, I don't think I'm still very confident when it comes to, let's say, speaking anything or stuff. But like it was not inborn. To be honest, I mean, I was a very very shy kid during my school days. So again, let me tell you an anecdote. So during my eighth standard, there was this designation which was given to me called as CCA captain, which is co-curricular activities captain. The main responsibility of this person is to organize all the extracurricular activities happening in the school and conducting an assembly in the morning. Like वो prayers होता है ना कि सुबह you have to conduct the prayers, you have to tell everyone to just sing the national anthem and
Right.
do the pledge, etc. तो तभी मैं CCA कैप्टन बना था एंड आई रिमेम्बर लाइक आई यूज्ड टू कंडक्ट द असेंबली इट्स कॉल्ड एज असेंबली लाइक मॉर्निंग प्रेयर्स एंड
Sorry, what
देयर
is
वर
CCA?
800 CCA is
What is it?
co-curricular activities.
Okay, okay.
Right. So anything apart from academics, basically.
Mhm.
And basically, I was conducting morning prayers and all, and there were 800 students who used to stand in front of me, and I used to be like, I used to go in front of the mic, and I used to be like, I now request everyone to stand up for the national anthem, etc. And I used to be very, very scared and like in speaking in front of so many people. And I used to see some seniors of mine because I was in grade 8, which is 2011. I used to see seniors of mine who were in 11th and 12th. They used to laugh and they used to be like, "अरे इसको तो बोलना भी नहीं आता वगैरह वगैरह." So confidence was something which was not there in me right from my childhood. It is again like imbibed over the course of time as you practice, as you go to deliver more speeches, as you go to, let's say, as you speak in front of mirror more often with yourself for, let's say, 1 minute or 2 minutes, you get to realize that you have to improve a lot day by day. So that is something which helped me. And apart from that, answering your question on how does the shift look like from a tier 2 city to a tier 1 metro city, I think it was difficult for me also in the initial phase because this was the first time I was moving out of Nasik for 18 years. I've stayed in Nasik for 18 years of my life, and I
Mhm.
moved to Bombay on 1st April 2017. And the first 2 weeks were extremely horrible for me because firstly, like I had the habit of, let's say, staying in an AC room in Nasik, and here when I shifted to the hostel in Mumbai, there was no AC at all. And Mumbai, mein, of course, like you guys also know, it's
Right.
very humid, and specifically in the month of April, जहाँ पे summer शुरू हो जाता है. So I was like, how will I sleep? Because I was always, I was very much used to the luxury which I was provided by my parents in Nasik. Of course, I did not take it for granted as such, but at the same time, I tried to capitalize on all the strengths which I was given to. Then, secondly, I think I am very scared of insects, etc. So there were a lot of bed bugs in my hostel, and I still remember one like funny incident that one fine day when I was going to my office there in the afternoon at 2 o'clock के आसपास, like once we finished our lunch, there were 4 5 people sitting in the cabin, and all of a sudden one bed bug was just like it just came out of my shirt out of nowhere, and I just shouted in front of everyone, and I was like, "Kiss shit, मैं कहाँ पे?" This was within the first 2 weeks itself of me shifting to Bombay, and I was like, "Kiss shit, कहाँ पे आ गया? क्या हो गया?" And everyone was like, "Do you stay in a jungle or what? Like at least ensure that you're not bringing these insects here in the office and all." I was like, "Yeah, of course, I didn't know how this happened, but that was the case. I mean, the shift from, let's say, having a very luxurious or not luxurious but having a very comfortable life, that was not the case when I shifted to Bombay. Traveling in a local train with, let's say, like hundreds of people in the same compartment, traveling in an auto rickshaw with 5 people sitting in the same rickshaw, including the driver, of course. Two used to sit ahead and three used to sit at the back. So all these like things I adjusted gradually, and I realized that the more you move out of your comfort zone, higher are your chances of growth. I think growth is inversely proportional to your comfort zone. The more you stay in your comfort zone, lesser would be chances of growth. So that's the way I put it. And the best part I think about this entire transition was that I got used to it in like 1 or 2 months itself, not more than that. So I agree it was difficult, but then I got used to it, and then I started participating in a lot of competitions, like started gaining confidence in myself. And then the journey at Aditya Birla Group started when I cracked my interview, and that was a very grilling interview of 55 minutes long. And then like those 2 years were very enriching for me as a person to learn new things and have a very good exposure in the industry, because I was directly working with one of the most smartest, like one of the smartest minds of our country, Dr. Ajit Ranade, who was the chief economist at Aditya Birla Group. So being his executive assistant is itself a very big thing for me, and that is something which I cherish the most. And then I was with Aditya Birla Ventures, which is a VC fund where we used to invest in early stage startups. I used to look at the fintech and edtech side very closely. And yeah, I mean, that was the overall experience. But to long story short, I think confidence was something which was not there in me. It was just gained as and when time passed by.
Understood. Understood. So again, how did CA come into picture? How did CFA come into picture? Were you always aspiring to study into this domain as well, or this is something you picked up while you were in school or college or something like that? How was this decision made that yes, you want to pursue CA or CFA?
Right. So I was always interested in the field of finance right from my school days, and the best part was that I loved playing with numbers, and I was very good with mental mathematics. Also, I had cleared all these 10 levels of abacus, which is a mental mathematics course by UCMAS University, and I think because of that, my interest in mathematics was always there right from my childhood. And apart from that, I think CA is a course where the return on investment is high. So I was like कि मैं तो मारवाड़ी हुई, तो कम से कम कॉस्ट में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा रिटर्न मिलना चाहिए. So ROI should be the highest. So the total cost of a CA curriculum would be around, let's say, rupees 3 to 3.5 lakhs, including the coaching fees of all the three levels for 5 years. And the first package also which I got was 18.25 lakhs. So clear cut, like 5 years का 3 साढ़े 3 लाख का खर्चा है, and एक साल में you are getting 18.25 lakhs. The ROI is more than sufficient to do this course itself. So that was the other reason. And the third reason, which is the emotional angle, was basically my dad also wanted to clear CA exams, but unfortunately he didn't. And it was my dream to become a CA, so that his dream of becoming a CA gets fulfilled, because every parent in the world would want their child to go beyond what they have achieved in their lives. And that was one of the main driving factors for me. So whenever I used to get demotivated, I used to feel like, चलो यार, पापा ने तो नहीं कर पाए, but मैं पक्का कर पाऊंगा, and he'll feel as if he has become a CA. So that was something which I always had at the back of my mind. And CFA, I think, again, interest in finance was there at the core of my heart. And I thought that CFA is a very good course when it comes to specialization in the field of finance. So that is one of the main reasons I chose CFA. And CFA is like a very, very good practical course. I'm like, you've also done CFA, Samyak, so I'm sure you also know how practical oriented it is. You can't mug up in CFA and clear those examinations. Until and unless you don't understand those concepts, it's very difficult. Although there are only three options in the MCQ, you'll still juggle up between two options, and you'll feel like यार दो तो इसमें से correct लग ही रहे, एक
Absolutely.
eliminate हो रहा है, बाकी दो तो हो ही नहीं रहे,
Correct.
specifically in ethics and all.
Yes. Yes.
So I think CFA was like a very good add-on when it comes to developing a deeper knowledge in the field of finance. So I enrolled for CFA and luckily cleared all the three levels also in the first attempt itself. And yeah, I think that's how CFA journey started.
So Kushal, the thing is that you don't see a lot of CA folks ending up in the venture side of things, right? And again, everyone says that the best VCs are ones who were seasoned operators, right? Like if you're a seasoned operator or a founder, you become a very good fit for a VC job, right? So again, given that you gave your background about Aditya Birla Group, wherein you were the executive assistant of the chief economist, like with limited industry or corporate exposure, if I may say so, how did the move into venture happen, right? Because venture is something that has a very high entry barrier, if I may say so.
Yeah. Right. Again, I think as I mentioned, I got lucky a lot of times in my life. Right. This is also one of the moments where I think I got lucky. So here the thing was that there was an opportunity at Aditya Birla Ventures, and they were looking out for CAs. So they were hiring CAs from outside Aditya Birla Group, basically, not from Aditya Birla Group. And at the back of my mind, I always had this dream of getting into a PE or a VC at least someday in my life, where I wanted to look how the buy side works. So I talked to my boss, like Dr. Ajit Ranade, and I was like, there's this opening at Aditya Birla Ventures, and that's like one of the most, one of the best places where I also want to work with, and I see myself working in a P or a VC for the next few years of my life. And I politely asked him, like, only if it's okay with you, will it be fine if I take an internal transfer, and I'll make sure that I find a very good replacement who will be much better than me, and I'll take that responsibility. And after giving it a thought, I think after a few minutes itself, he was like, if you're interested in that, definitely you should take a transition. And he was very much kind enough to give my strong recommendation to the team at Aditya Birla Ventures, by the way. And ironically, he also retired after a couple of months, and he's now the vice chancellor at Gokhale Institute of Political Science in Pune. But the thing is that this transition happened because of that stint, to be honest. So Aditya Birla Group has this policy where you will be rotated across three different stints for first 12 months. So 4 months each, three stints, which is the first year, and then you get a final role in the second year. So he was kind enough to give my recommendation to Aditya Birla Ventures team. And I agree, there are very high entry barriers. But to be honest, if you have the right skill sets, or if you have the right set of knowledge about the VC space, it's not that difficult to get into it. Because see, the typical work of a VC is what, like, you have to identify the startups, you have to identify the founders, and you have to take a bet. Ultimately, it's not like a private equity where you have a lot of data to, let's say, analyze, okay, what is this company about, what are the future projections, etc. For any startup, the bet is going to be on the founder. And I think the skill set required in a VC job is your scouting skills, like how do you scout, how do you find the right quality people, right quality founders. And the second would be analyzing through like sectoral analysis or industry data, or just talking to a lot of industry experts. And also, I don't think there was any specific skill which I was lacking when it comes to a VC job, and that was one of the main reasons I think I got into VC. But yeah, I mean, few months down the line, I realized that even VC is not made for me. Probably let me just take a plunge now. I am not tired as such, but okay, I think I'm done with my corporate job experience of 2 years, and let's try to take a plunge into entrepreneurship, because I wanted to do something of myself at the end of the day. So that was something I had at the back of my mind.
So Kushal, like again from CA to ABG to ABG Ventures, right, and now into content. So for all creators, right, there is this serendipitous moment that most people say that this happened and I got into content creation, or I wrote this post, or I put out this reel, and it just blew up, right? So for you as a creator slash entrepreneur slash author, what was that one defining moment, or was it a structured approach to move or plunge into the field of content creation?
That's a very good question. I think it started by the fact that I had got all India ranks in all the three levels of CS 6, 5, and 5. And a lot of students used to ask the same set of questions, like where should we study from? Should we join coaching? How should be the subject wise strategy? Which reference book to buy? Whether online, offline coaching is needed, etc. So I thought, instead of answering the same set of questions to everyone on LinkedIn, let's try to create YouTube videos initially and share those links with everyone. And after that, I also shared all my CA final notes and all my CFA level 2 handwritten notes with everyone free of cost on my YouTube channel. And they were very happy, and they started sharing it with a lot of people. That's how I gained initial traction. This was like the moment for me where people were sharing a lot of my videos, because of course there was value in it, because there were notes in it which I had prepared over the last 4.5 months of my CA finals leave. So that was like one of the main reasons of starting the journey. It started on YouTube, then I started sharing my notes on LinkedIn. I just started uploading the Google Drive link on LinkedIn as well, and on LinkedIn also it turned out really well. I mean, those days, I think 2 years, probably 1.5 years back, I used to post on LinkedIn, and if I used to get some 1,000 likes, I used to feel very happy, and I was like, "Yare yaar, baap re, to ekdam viral ho gaya post and all." So that time, I think getting that traction was very enriching for me, and it was very surprising also at the same time, because I didn't expect itna share ho jayega. And uske baad, when I shared that Google Drive link, I remember that the link stopped working after a point of time, because a lot of people were clicking on it, and a lot of people commented that, Kushal, we can't see the link because it says that a lot of people are trying to click, and it automatically stopped. So I had to upload it on Dropbox. Then I had also uploaded it on other Drive platforms, and I had shared like 3-4 alternate links as well. I think this really helped me to start my content creation journey. So again, it was not with the motive of earning money through brand collaborations in the future, but it was more on the lens that I always wanted to share what I've prepared with everyone, so that it does not waste their time in creating the same document which I've created over the last 4.5 months. So that was something which I really liked about the content creation journey. And uske baad, gradually I started Instagram also. To be honest, there's no viral reel which has happened like कि एकदम यार इसको तो बहुत बढ़िया views आ गए, except one, I think, which is crossed 1.2 million. But there's no ऐसे viral reel types की यार हाँ ये तो बहुत ही blue हो गया एकदम boom हो गया, and इसके वजह से मेरे 20-30 हजार followers एक दिन में बढ़ गए. So Instagram पे there's nothing which has happened of this sort. Same on YouTube. I think it's just consistency every day. But on LinkedIn, I think this had happened once. I think last year when I had posted that everyone has different definitions of enjoyment. So I think this was one of the viral posts on LinkedIn where it got some 10.6 million impressions and it got 1,77,000 likes. So within a day, I think I had got some 25,000 followers on LinkedIn, which is like a very big deal to get 25k followers on LinkedIn in a day. LinkedIn, you guys also know. I mean, it's very difficult to grow on LinkedIn as a platform. So that was one of the viral posts, and that was like the, I mean, tipping point for my LinkedIn journey, to be honest, because after that, a lot of people started following, and uske baad the engagement started increasing a bit. So for LinkedIn, that was the tipping point, to be honest.
Understood. So again, you started on YouTube with CA. You transition into Instagram and LinkedIn then, or from being like a CA. You used to write on CA. Now you write a lot of good business posts, company analysis. How did this work out for them? How did that work out for them? And a lot of current affairs stuff as well, right? So. What was the idea behind picking this as your niche, because LinkedIn mostly is a personal branding side of things where you share your personal experience with people, right?
Right.
Instagram is more on picking a niche and just talking about that, and YouTube also is again the same kind of thing. So how did you transition into these kind of niches, or decide that this would work for me, or this is something which would interest my audience, so as to say?
Right. I think for YouTube, I started with my CA notes, CA journey, etc. A lot of people used to ask me कि आपको टीचर बनना है क्या, आपको कोचिंग में जाना है क्या, आप ऐसे ऐसे वीडियोस बना रहे हो. I was like नहीं यार, टीचिंग में नहीं जाना है. I'm just trying to help in some or the other way. So after a point of time, I was done with my CA content because notes उतने ही है, notes में ज़्यादा बना के और मैं videos तो नहीं बना सकता हूँ. Then I thought that I had gained like good amount of subscribers in less than 1 year. I think 50k subscribers I had got in less than 1 year. एंड आई वाज लाइक अभी इतना लोग मतलब कर रहे फॉलो, तो बंद क्यों करना है. मतलब आई नो आई स्टार्टेड विद माय सीए का थिंग, तो बंद क्यों करे. अभी ऑडियंस है तो इनको चलो कुछ और देते हैं, कुछ और दूसरा ट्राई करते हैं. सो आई फिगर्ड कि चलो पॉडकास्ट शुरू करते हैं, एंड इट विल हेल्प मी ऑल्सो टू नेटवर्क विद पीपल. It will help me also to improve my communication skills, and it will help me understand how to talk to new people in the future. So again, a selfish motive here, and I started my podcast called as Conversation with Kushal, KWK, where I started interviewing my friends firstly, and then again industry stalwarts in the latter phase of Conversation with Kushal. So the first guest was my very close friend Karan Patel, who was with JP Morgan at that time, and he shared his entire experience at JP Morgan, etc. So people love these kind of videos. So I started my podcast, and then I started interviewing a lot of guests on the channel. Then that podcast started doing well. I started interviewing a lot of industry stalwarts. So the first special, or maybe the first big guest on my channel, was Mr. Saurabh Mukherjee, who is the founder at Marcellus, who is the founder at Marcellus Investment Managers. And that video also got very good views. And iske baad new audience started following me, and it was no more the CA audience. Although I still think 50 to 60% of my YouTube audience is still CA professionals and CA students. But I think a lot of new people have also started following because of those podcasts where it's nothing related to CA. So that's something which I started doing. And then secondly, on LinkedIn also, I agree that it's more on the personal life. So initially I used to have CA CFA audience because I was just sharing my CA notes, etc. But I started sharing my corporate life experience. I started sharing generic life experience. If you see my LinkedIn posts also, in the last 6 months, in the last 8 months, you wouldn't see anything on CA specific except 2 or 3 because I wanted to promote my master classes. But I think there's like very generic, those are very generic posts. For example, the enjoyment definition which got viral, I mean, it comes as very authentic and natural. So whatever I feel, I just start writing and I share it with my audience. So a lot of software engineers also started following because it was more on the lines they are also feeling relatable. So I was just checking my demographics, by the way, last week, and I found out that accounting and auditors, जो पहले सबसे ज़्यादा होता था, अभी it is only 46%, and engineers and founders वो पूरा वो दोनों तीनों मिला के it's 54%. So I was like कि चलो मतलब मेरा diversified audience हो रहा है. It's not that I only have a CA का audience or CFA का audience anymore on LinkedIn. So that's how like I started the LinkedIn का thing कि अभी let's try to share generic life lessons. Everyone will feel relatable. So what I try to do on LinkedIn is I try to step into the shoes of my reader. I try to ask them कि अगर आप अगर मेरी जगह होते और ये पढ़ रहे होते तो आपको मतलब ये मजा आता क्या, आपको रिलेटेबल फील होता क्या. I give it to 3-4 of my friends, ask them कि are you feeling relatable, मतलब ऐसे पढ़ के वाव वाला फीलिंग आ रहा है क्या. Once they approve it, then only I post it on LinkedIn. So basically this is my process of getting the post verified. Some post of course I just do it like my way because I feel कि हाँ यार ये तो मतलब मेरे बहुत personal है and I think इसके लिए approval की जरूरत नहीं है. So that is the process for like making those LinkedIn posts. And getting topic ideas for LinkedIn is very simple, to be honest. It's not that difficult. If I'm having any conversation, I try to pick up something from that and I try to make a LinkedIn post. For example, I've done so many times. Like I was talking to one of my friends and he was asking me, is money everything for you? And I told him that as of now, money is everything for me. And in the future, maybe my priorities might change. And then he was like, no, this shouldn't be the mindset. So I made a LinkedIn post on this key, why what money means to me, or maybe why money means freedom to me after a point of time. Then I was having a conversation with one of the startup founders. He invited me for drinks. He was like, let's catch up for drinks. I was like, no, I don't drink, but I don't mind catching up. I'll be there with you. And he was like, तेरे को networking अगर करना है तो तेरे को drink करना शुरू करना पड़ेगा. So I wrote a post on this. All these posts like have become very good. Like they've got very good traction also. So I think that's the best way to get topic ideas on LinkedIn. And lastly, to answer your question on Instagram, I think Instagram again, I didn't want to keep myself specific on the CA audience, so I started sharing business case study analysis. Like Instagram content is more on the education side, unlike LinkedIn, which is more personal or more motivational. Instagram is more on the side that if I come across some interesting article, if I come across some interesting term which I think I should share it with my audience, that is something which I do on Instagram. So I have like a 6-member proper team. I've automated my entire process and they help with the like entire script writing, editing, graphic designing, uploading on my social media handles, handling all the brand deals. Everything is taken care by them.
Wow. I totally relate to the socially drinking part, that will become socially awkward because you
Yeah.
kind of don't drink, and I have faced the same with my colleagues when I was working. That you'll be like it'll be like you are socially awkward when people come from abroad. Your teammates, they all drink. It's like water for them, and you'll have like a coke and also it doesn't feel nice. I said I'm okay totally because I'll be known with the work I do, not with the drinks I have, right? And it was a very simple answer, and I still don't drink. I still don't have any habits, so as to say. But totally agree to your point that this socially awkward thing which people say is not at all social. It's just what your mindset is, what you want to do, and I think you were right when you said that. So again, thanks for explaining how branding works on different social media platforms. Now coming to obviously how you automate things, right? So you spoke about that, and you do a lot of things, right? So you need to keep track of what you're doing, the time
Yeah.
management side of the things, correct? Otherwise it's you'll go mad. You'll not have your creativity quotient coming up when you have swamped with work, and that's why you automated a lot of things, right? So what how does your day look like? How do you manage your time, because you are going like making a lot of projects side by side, right? The Kagar Glot Club, Acing CA, the Unicorn Secret, then probably automating all those things over different platforms. From content idea generation, which you spoke about LinkedIn. So from there, maybe on other platforms, to kind of creating content, to recording it, to kind of scheduling it, to getting live, to managing brand deals. How does your day look like? How do you manage your time, and how have you automated all of these things?
Right. I think I'm a very big fan of delegation and automation. So I believe that if that is not the core strength of you, you shouldn't do that job. You should try to outsource it and delegate it to someone else and pay a good amount of money so that you get a quality output. So let me elaborate on this. For example, I'm not good with video editing. I'm not good with graphic designing. That's not my main job, right? My main job is, my strength is to record a video in front of camera. I can speak very well. I can, let's say, like engage the audience. That's my strength. I want to focus on that strength itself. I record it in front of a camera. I'll upload it on my Google Drive and I'll just give it to my team who will take care of all the things. Now, let me explain how I have automated. So, 6-member team on Instagram, for my social media only actually. So, 6-member team, 2 content writers, 1 video editor, 1 graphic designer, 1 social media manager, and 1 executive assistant. So, the process works, the way this process works is very simple. The content writers would give me some content ideas, then I'll approve the content ideas. Once that is approved, They'll prepare scripts for me. Once we have a discussion, okay, this is the script. They'll prepare like 10 scripts for me for Instagram, etc. Once I have a discussion in terms of, okay, let's change this, or maybe, like add more details, add more data, etc., the final script is given to me. On a Monday, I try to record all the 7 to 8 reels which are given to me. All the reels, then I give it to, I upload it on Google Drive. I upload it on my group with 6 people who are there. It's called as Team Kushal Lodha, and I upload it there. And once it is uploaded, then my social media manager who is there, he takes care of everything. He'll coordinate with the video editor कि कब video edit हुआ क्या. He'll approve the video. He knows now कि कौन सा style मेरे को पसंद है, क्या changes होने चाहिए video में. He writes the caption. He'll coordinate with the graphic designer. He'll ensure कि reel cover जो है कैसे एकदम सही लगना चाहिए. It should be very appealing. So he'll take care of everything, post production basically. Once that is done, once that is approved, I don't even nowadays, because I don't get time, so I don't even approve my edited reels. I tell them कि like if you have approved it, I am confident कि तूने देखा होगा, so you upload it on my Instagram now. Then he uploads it on my Instagram every day at 8 p.m. sharp. You will get a reel from 1st October 2022 till date. Every day like one reel has gone. At like initially I used to do at 6 p.m. for the first 3 months. Then I asked a poll to my audience, what time do you want to see? 82% responded 8 p.m., which I didn't expect, so I started uploading it at 8 p.m. daily. And then once the social media manager uploads the reels, then like putting it down on story, making a LinkedIn post if that is required, and then replying to all the comments, etc. So that is taken care of. And the job of the executive assistant is to manage all the brand deals. For example, if there's any event or college institution is inviting me, if there is any brand who wants to collaborate with me, if there's any other person, if there's anything, like all the coordination, I don't want to give my number because it becomes difficult to attend all the calls and all. So I give his number, and he manages everything, like responding to emails, getting on calls with them, locking the deal, and then like doing the final verification and all, getting it approved from the brand, etc. So that's how I've automated, so it becomes easier for me. I only work on Mondays for my content creation. I used to work on Sundays, but abhi Sundays it's going for KAGR only, because we take master classes on Sundays. So Monday ko, like entire Monday goes into content creation, and then Tuesday to Sunday I work for my startup, which is KAGR. So that's how I've automated my content creation journey. Same for YouTube and LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I try to write 4 posts on Monday itself. I try to schedule them over the week, and LinkedIn has this feature of scheduling, which is very nice. I like it. So that's the best way to automate the LinkedIn ka thing also. And for YouTube, I think I'm more focusing on podcasts now. So if there's any guest interview, I'll just go there and I'll just ask the questions. I don't have to prepare anything specifically for my YouTube scripts as such. So YouTube, I'm focusing more on the podcast. I upload it on my drive, and then everything is taken care by the team. Who like the editor will edit the video, the designer will design the thumbnail, and my manager will just upload it on YouTube, write the description box, do all the later post production stuff which is needed. So yeah, that's how I've automated my entire process.
I mean, amazing. I feel this automation thing, right? And I feel how you delegate work, how you automate things, and how you manage a team is much more important than just creating content and posting it, right? A small thing here: how can a budding content creator who does not have a big team, who does not have enough resources to kind of do all of the stuff and delegate it, how can he become a content creator as a full-time gig?
You talk about any successful person in the world, they have started by themselves when they were nothing, and they were like hustling a lot, and they were the ones who were doing all the work. Like you talk about any startup founder, you talk about anyone, they've done the ground reality kind of work. For example, we've interviewed founder of Cars 24, Vikram Chopra, for our book Unicorn Secret, and he was mentioning he used to go to petrol pumps and talk to those petrol pump guys and ask he used to go to the petrol pump and talk to those cars who used to come to fill petrol, and like just show the product of Cars 24, of the second hand cars, etc. So he has done it himself when he was starting Cars 24, which is now a $3.2 billion valuation company, if I'm not wrong. Then you talk about anyone else, they've done it their way. Like starting with sab khud ko hi karna padta hai. You can't outsource right from the beginning. If you start outsourcing or delegating right from the start, then the problem is that you'll have to burn a lot of money. So that is not the recommended approach, to be honest. So coming back to the content creation thing, basically the thing is कि starting my video editing वगैरह पूरा सब मैं ही करता था, to be honest. Although I said that it's not my strength, but I didn't want to burn to, let's say, I didn't want to spend a lot of money just to give it to an editor, because there was no source of income for me. I was just doing it for my passion. तो इनिशियली आई डेंट हैव एनीथिंग, नो कैमरा, नो माइक, ये सब तो बाद में आता है जब धीरे धीरे ट्रैक्शन बनता है. सो आई वुड रेकमेंड whoever is starting, ऐसा नहीं कि तुमको पूरा क्वालिटी कैमरा माइक सब अभी से खरीदना है तो ही तुम लोग स्केल होगे. There are so many people who have bought like expensive and very good cameras, mics, but still they don't scale up. There are so many people who are just recording videos on iPhones and they are uploading it without a mic and they are having millions of subscribers also. You take example of one of the YouTube creators. Her name is Alina Rai. So she is popular. She's also CA by the way, and she's very popular because she creates content on how to speak English. Now, if you see her journey, she used to create videos on her iPhone until she hit like a good amount of, let's say, 500k subscribers also. And she used to use her earphones, and she used to use, like, in the video also it is visible that she's using her earphones and she's talking. And at the same time she used to tell in the video itself कि I'm using my iPhone to record these videos etc. So ऐसा नहीं कि तुमको starting से ये सब करना है, quality and also I'd recommend कि starting में do everything by yourself. Initially for the first 6 months I remember मैं घर पे बैठ के मोबाइल आईफोन सामने रखता था. There was no mic also. iPhone का जो mic था उसी से ऑडियो भी रिकॉर्ड होता था. I used to upload that on video on my YouTube channel. And I remember अभी मैं जब देखता हूँ YouTube videos, बहुत बैकग्राउंड नॉइज होता है वो वीडियोस में, बट पीपल आर कमिंग फॉर द वैल्यू, पीपल आर कमिंग टू लिसन व्हाट यू आर स्पीकिंग रादर देन दे आर नॉट कमिंग फॉर लेट्स से सीइंग कि कितना डिस्टर्बेंस है, कितना ये हो रहा है. ऑल्दो दैट गिव्स अ बेटर एक्सपीरियंस इफ यू डू एवरीथिंग परफेक्टली, बट दैट्स नॉट प्रोबेबली पॉसिबल इन द इनिशियल स्टेज व्हेन यू आर जस्ट स्टार्टिंग आउट. तो आई रेकमेंड डू एवरीथिंग बाय योरसेल्फ फॉर द फर्स्ट फ्यू मंथ्स. Try to see कि तुम्हारा PMF fit हुआ है कि नहीं, product market fit. If you are getting traction, then go for let's say burning, or then go for spending something. अगर तुम्हारा skill ही नहीं हो रहा है starting से, then there's no point in burning, because first content quality should be figured out and then the production quality needs to be taken care of. If you are just focusing on the production quality and the content quality is not good at all, there is no point in doing this. So for any successful content creator, these are the two things which they need to take care of. One is the content quality की scripting कैसा है, नया information क्या है, and second is the production quality. But content quality is more important than the production quality in my opinion. So that is something which I would recommend. I used to use Adobe Premiere Pro का pirated version. I used to use that to edit my videos. Then I used to use some Filmora 9, DaVinci, 3-4 software मैंने सीखे थे YouTube tutorial से. I used to do the editing myself. देन उसके बाद आई यूज टू डू एवरीथिंग, मतलब इवन थंबनेल्स वगैरह मैं कैनवा पे कभी बना लेता था, या तो मैं कभी पिक्सआर्ट पे बना लेता था. आई रिमेंबर द फर्स्ट थंबनेल आल्सो कैसे बनाया था मैंने पिक्सआर्ट पे, एकदम गंदा सा, but even that video has got like good amount of views etc. So the point which I'm trying to make is be frugal initially. I mean, be frugal for the entire life, to be honest, but the thing is that you have to be very cautious of your expenses in the initial start, and don't just waste your money on, let's say, buying the top notch equipments before even starting your content, before even figuring out what your niche is going to be. So that's a recommendation. Once you hit the product market fit, then go for hiring, go for delegation. Everything is going to work that way only. So that's like one piece of advice which I would like everyone to keep in mind.
So basically frugal is the new rich, if we may say so. But
Yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely.
Kushal, like,
I mean,
thank you.
since we're talking about frugality, there are like few examples also. Like one is that I was reading this book called as How Deepak Parekh Grew HDFC Exponentially. It's written by Mr. R. Gopalakrishnan. In that book, he mentions the fact that Deepak Parekh and Aditya Puri, both of them, Aditya Puri, who was the managing director at HDFC Bank, both of them are also very frugal, by the way. So he was mentioning an incident. This is a very interesting one. So HDFC Bank, when it was started in 94, I think 91 or 94, when it was started, then there were like a lot of cashiers who were there, right? And cashiers का काम क्या होता है, like you have to always have your hand आगे, because you are a cashier, तो आपको कैश आगे देना है, काउंट करना है, तो आपके हाथ जो हमेशा आगे रहेंगे. That's why they bought chairs जहाँ पे hand rest साइड में नहीं होगा, because cashier का काम हमेशा उसका हाथ आगे ही रहने वाला है. They did not purchase any chair that has hand rest because that would increase the cost of their particular operation. So that is something which they kept in mind. Then even second interesting incident is Deepak Parekh. Whenever he travels or whenever he stays in a 5-star hotel, like I was just reading in that book, he never has food from that hotel, like during his initial days. So he used to always he used to stay in the 5-star hotel because he wanted to make the clients feel कि okay, there's a renowned person who's coming, and okay, इससे बात meeting कर सकते हैं. But at the same time, he used to ensure that he's just going somewhere nearby to have some food, and then he used to come back to the hotel once again. So that is something which I read in that book, and that is something which we all need to learn. Like being frugal is not being miser all the time. Like there's a lot of difference between frugality and being miser. So I think being frugal is much more smart as compared to just spending money to just show people that like even you have money, how rich you are, etc. So I think the way I can put it is basically being frugal is smart, and being like just maybe being or showing off your wealth to people just because you want to have that status. It's just little stupid according to me.
Fair. I think that makes a lot of sense, right, Kushal? So coming to my previous question, right? Content happened, and then I'm assuming that through content you got to meet a lot of people on the internet friends happened, and then through that your book or your two books that are coming out, right? Like one is with Ishan and one that released yesterday. So how exactly, did the entire journey, if I may say so, for the book creation happened? And there's this one common understanding about books is that you can never make money through the royalty that you get from books. That's not a very
Yeah.
feasible source of income, right? So just
Yeah.
wanted to understand that, was this from a very passion oriented lens, like giving back to the society, or you had some sort of commercialization things in mind?
Yeah, I think again a brilliant question. I think the main reason of writing Unicorn Secret was because Ishan and I, we used to keep chatting, we used to keep discussing a lot of ideas back in December 2021. So we used to talk a lot. We used to just every day we used to think about some new business idea कि क्या कर सकते हैं लाइफ में वगैरह वगैरह, क्या नया स्टार्टअप खोल सकते हैं etc. एंड वन फाइन डे आई वाज लाइक कि यार अपन इतना डिस्कस तो करते हैं बट एग्जीक्यूट वगैरह तो कर नहीं पाते कुछ भी, अपन सिर्फ आइडिया आइडिया डिस्कस करते रहते हैं एंड अपने को इतने क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं, तो बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप फाउंडर्स हो गए जिनको ये सब क्वेश्चंस आते होंगे, लाइक हाउ डू यू फाइंड द राइट को फाउंडर्स, हाउ डू यू बिल्ड द product market fit for your startup, how do you raise funds for your company, how do you hire the first set of people, what kind of incentives do you give them, what's your vision for the company, how's the company culture, etc. So we just thought, I asked him कि ईशान ऐसी कोई बुक अभी तक मैंने तो पढ़ी नहीं है कि जो ऐसे 20 यूनिकॉर्न फाउंडर्स की सक्सेस स्टोरी के बारे में बताए. ये 20 एकदम टॉप नॉच लोग अपन लेंगे क्वालिटी वाले, एंड वी विल ट्राई टू ले डाउन देयर सक्सेस स्टोरी व्हिच विल इंस्पायर लाइक thousands and thousands of Indians. And I asked him casually कि if you want to join me in this project, let me know. I am तो going to definitely do this because this is something which I find there's a gap in the market and I think ये बिकेगा. मतलब बिकने से अच्छा इतना ये कि अपने को पहले तो बहुत सीखने मिलेगा ये 20 लोगों से जिनसे बात करेंगे, एंड एट द सेम टाइम कि बहुत लोगों को भी इंस्पिरेशन मिलेगा. एंड विद इन अ सेकंड ही सेड yes, and I was like, I thought he's joking only, but from the next day we started sending out emails to all the founders, we started reaching out to their PR teams, we actively started talking to them. So that was the main reason we started Unicorn Secrets. Again, no, nothing money oriented as such. We have spent a lot, by the way, because we have traveled to almost every city because we did these interviews in person with almost every founder, because the rapport and connect which you build in an in-person meeting, that is much more. I think that's much better as compared to the rapport or the bond which you share in a virtual meeting. So that's why we thought that we'll travel to Delhi, Bangalore, Jaipur, Pune, anywhere, like wherever the founders are going to call us. Indore also, Ritesh Agarwal called us at Indore, etc. So with that mindset, we've spent a lot, by the way, and we've also spent on these stays, like stays in hotel, travel, etc. So that was some money is not the objective for us, because we know that money jitna aega, 10% is the royalty, by the way, for any wherever you go for publishing. Like for example, we are going with Penguin, right? A lot of these publishers have this fixed contract that they won't give more than 10% royalty. So hardly, even if अगर 300 का बुक है, 300 का 10% जाएगा 30 रुपए, एंड 30 रुपए वो भी मेरे और ईशान में बटेगा 15 रुपए. So basically it's hardly anything, right? So money was never the objective. It was more, again, it was like a selfish motive, to be honest, to be frank and transparent, कि हमको भी मिलने का मौका मिल रहा है 20 बड़े बड़े सक्सेसफुल लोगों से, एंड उनके साथ हमारा कनेक्शन भी रहेगा. They'll also remember us because we traveled all the way from Mumbai and Bangalore to meet them. That was also one of the motives. And secondly, I think for this Acing CA ka book, I think the motive was again to give back to the fraternity, although the royalty is much higher in this case because of the new publisher which I've selected, and the fact that this is something which is not there in the market again, and this is something which is very personal to me. For example, it's very relatable. Whatever I've written in this book, it's more on my entire CA journey. It's more on the lens that how like CA students ask a lot of questions, right? Like a lot of questions. I tried to compile them. I made a Word document of all the questions, and I was like कि चलो यार इन सबका आंसर एक बुक के जर्नी के फॉर्मेट में देते हैं. तो किसी को भी अगर आर्टिकलशिप के रिलेटेड डाउट है तो वो आर्टिकलशिप के चैप्टर में चला जाएगा. किसी को भी फाइनल प्रिपरेशन के रिलेटेड डाउट है, सीए फाइनल स्ट्रेटेजी का एक चैप्टर होगा, वहां चला जाएगा. किसी को डाउट है कि सीए के बाद करना क्या चाहिए, तो उसके बाद वो चैप्टर में चला जाएगा. सो इट्स लाइक वेरी क्रोनोलॉजिकली, लाइक इट्स लाइक वेरी ऑर्डरली मेड बुक, एंड आई थिंक उसमें भी माइंडसेट यही था कि एवरीवन शुड बी लाइक कि सब डाउट सॉल्व हो गए अभी, मतलब इससे ज्यादा और डाउट्स आ ही नहीं सकते बुक पढ़ने के बाद. दैट वाज द माइंडसेट, टू बी ऑनेस्ट. एंड ये तो अभी दिसंबर में ही स्टार्ट किया, 2 महीने पहले टू बी ऑनेस्ट, तो दिसंबर में स्टार्ट किया था एंड मेरे को 24 फेब को लॉन्च करना था, तो आई स्लॉग्ड अ लॉट इन द लास्ट कपल ऑफ मंथ्स, तो वो फिनिश करना ही पड़ा था. And very kind enough to approach Mr. Deepak Parekh, and he has been very kind enough to write the foreword, who's the chairman of HDFC, and Suresh Prabhu sir, etc. They also gave a lot of good recommendations through their blogs and endorsements. So again, I feel very lucky कि यार इतने बड़े बड़े लोग इतने मतलब endorsements वगैरह दे रहे हैं. So probably yeah, I mean I think it'll be a good read for all the C aspirants and professionals.
Got it. I think, and this is a commonality that you share with Gaurav as well, wherein he was telling us about his books and how he had approached some senior folks to get a forward and that entire journey. So that is super inspirational, Kushal. And now, before moving to the conclusionary part of the conversation, we would want to talk about KAGR or KAGR. I don't know what is the current correct pronunciation, right? But how you are trying to build another vertical, if I may say so, to empower CA students and students in general, right? So wanted to understand the thought process, the vision that you have with the current venture, and how easy slash difficult it is to switch, say, from a creator to an author to entrepreneur, and again the whole circle going back
Yeah.
and forth.
Right. So I think, yeah, I mean, I named it as KAGR because again, since you're also finance students, KAGR is nothing but compounded annual growth rate. And C के जगह K डाल दिया because I'm obsessed with the letter K because my name starts with K. So that's the reason I started this K. I made this name, and the reason is like if you join this community, if you join this startup, if you join KAGR, basically your growth rate in life will also escalate, will also increase, and that's what we are trying to signify through our logo also, where we are trying to say that you'll grow in life if you join this community. The vision or maybe the thought process behind starting KAGR was very simple. I found out that a lot of these students, a lot of these finance enthusiasts, everyone has a lot of queries in terms of, let's say, okay, careers in the field of finance हो गया. Finance is also very subjective, very vast topic, right? Careers हो गया, upskilling हो गया, then even after upskilling there's like this personal finance, money management, etc. And more or less I found out that there is no community of, let's say, aspiring investment bankers, aspiring VCs, aspiring PEs. मतलब you'll find a lot of communities on, let's say, IBs, PEs, VCs, etc. जो existing है वहाँ पे, but aspiring लोगों का community was not there. So through these webinars, master classes and courses which we are trying to create, my ideal objective is to create a community of these people where the market is huge because a lot of people want to get into investment banking, etc. And then this community can just be like, they can interact with each other, they can, let's say, try to solve each other's doubts, etc. There'll be offline events once in 2 months which we'll organize for them, and that is something which we are trying to build at KAGR. So one-stop solution for all the finance students and professionals of India. Long-term vision would be that anything related to finance, this should be the go-to platform. So phase 1, I think we are focusing more on careers in the field of finance. Phase 2 would be more on upskilling them, how to make them job ready in the field of finance. And phase 3 would be more on the lens that personal finance would come into picture. Like we've identified few people who are extremely well, who can also take some courses and master classes on those topics. And yeah, I mean, that's the main thing which is going on in my life right now, like identifying the best quality creators, who can, creators as in not the content creators, but course conveners, course mentors, who can take these classes on a revenue share model initially, and see how they can scale up, and I'll help them with the entire distribution, marketing. I'll get the audience and they get their intellect. So it's like merging distribution with intellect is what I'm trying to do. So that is something which I have in my mind. And again, like once the community is built, I would want this community, like community of like-minded people, to interact with each other, like to just help each other out. And like this community which is going to build, it's going to be very cream set of people, to be honest. Like all the finance geeks, all the finance enthusiasts of India should be there on the platform. So that is something which I want to go, which I want to do in the future, and let's see how it goes. But as of now, that's the thought process behind starting KAGR.
Awesome. So I think right now most of your time goes into KAGR, right? Because I think the rest of it is like automated now for you. So you just give a day and all that is done. So
Okay.
I would say you explained a lot on KAGR, but before I go to the last question, how did this idea pop up? I mean, were you always wanted to get like a platform for, because you have always like been teaching on how to clear CA exams, how was your CFA journey, how you got into IB, sorry, VC, you were in Aditya Billa's Scream program. So was this all like the base of forming this platform, KAGR.club, that, or you always thought that there is a bit of mismatch into what the kind of quality of content should be for these kind of aspirants, and to just fix this problem also you thought this would be a good platform?
Yeah, I think the main reason I got this idea was because again I thought that I jotted down like what is my strength firstly, what can I do, what is it something which I can capitalize on my previous credentials, qualifications, and credibility and all. And I thought that this is something where I think founder market fit would be nice. Like for example, the credibility which I have because of the qualifications and ranks. I think any student would be like कि हाँ मतलब ठीक है चलो इसके बाद देख के तो जाते हैं भले अगर पसंद आए ना आए वो बाद में की बात है बट एक बार ट्राई तो करके देखते हैं
Correct.
सो दैट इज समथिंग व्हिच आई थॉट दैट वर्क आउट इन माय फेवर बिकॉज ऑफ द क्रेडिबिलिटी आई मीन आई एम नॉट फ्लॉन्टिंग एज सच बट एटलीस्ट आजकल
Yeah, yeah,
एजुकेशनल माइंडसेट ही
absolutely.
ऐसा है ना इफ लेट्स से यू हैव अ रैंक इन योर सीए तो सब उसके पास जाएंगे इफ यू हैव डन
Correct.
सीएफए everyone will go to him and ask यार कैसे करना है क्या करना है वगैरह वगैरह
Mhm.
so because of that credibility I thought let's capitalize this and at the same time I have a lot of like I made a lot of good friends in the last 2 years like in my last 2 years of like let's say I go to a lot of events and I network with a lot of people and all. I love networking to be honest. So I made a lot of friends. I found out that these are some really really smart people who can take like sessions on some topics where a lot of students can come and they'll love to hear. They'll want to hear from these people. So that's why I thought ki yaar, chalo, I have the distribution which I've built over the last 2 years. I have the network which I've built over the last 2 years through like going to a lot of events, reaching out to people on LinkedIn, etc. And the best way to let's say bridge this gap, I'll be the platform, I'll be the mediator, where the
Mhm.
people who I have in my distribution, in my audience, would really love to let's say meet, or if not meet, at least be a part of the community where these mentors or these industry stalwarts are there. So that's why I thought ki chalo ye chalu karte hain. And like just to give you an interesting examples, for example, we had our first offline event on 19th of February last week only, and it was in Mumbai. And like we only invited the people who are in Mumbai who took the masterclass on how to get your first job in the field of
Mhm.
finance. So there were 50 people who turned up, and we expected 50 people only, to be honest. And I invited nine guests, as in everyone from different fields like investment banking, private equity, VC, due diligence, valuation, equity research, portfolio management, wealth management, every possible field for finance. And these 50 people who were there, they were literally like they were able to talk to these nine guests very like very normally as if they are friends. And that was a very light-hearted networking session which I had organized. So people really like these kind of sessions because they don't get access to these guests, and giving them access to these guests in these kind of events, I think that is something which will be valuable in the future also. So that is the motive, and let's see how it goes. Like going forward, we'll also try to create like as I said, like aspiring bankers, aspiring private equities, and also there'll be
Mhm.
separate events that we organize for each of the communities. So that is something which we have to keep in our mind, and that is something which we feel can work well in our favor. But yeah, let's
Awesome.
see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. I just want to say that whenever you said the word lucky, right? You're just being lucky to be there, lucky to be here. I always like thought to replace that with hard work and dedication. I think uh, it's not just luck; it's a mix of both, right? To
Mm,
get where you are. So I wouldn't just say that you've just been lucky. You've been lucky, hardworking, and dedicated, so as to say, right? So I really don't believe that only luck gets you where you are. It plays a
mm,
part,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it has to be your dedication, hard work, and time, effort,
right,
everything, right? So
right.
yes,
And I
moving
think
on to
I learn about hard work and dedication from the two of you, and hustle is something which I'll learn from the two of you.
I mean, when you said Ishan and Kush, you both were like thinking that खाली ideas है, execute तो नहीं कर रहे हैं. So Samarth and I procrastinated, I think, for 6 months before starting the podcast. And one fine day is like, at least let's get one guest so that we start working on it. And it was a known circle, a senior guy from Burger King, and we just started, bought a subscription, told him to come, and he happily accepted it. And from there, it's been just a smooth journey, because we started one, right? You just need that push, and then you kind of just grow on it, right? So that's been our journey. So currently, we are doing a Shark
Correct.
Tank series specially as well. So separately, we are getting all the Shark Tank founders who have gotten a deal
Oh
and they
wow,
have done well. So
very
that is
nice.
also going parallelly. So I think ideas come out when you kind of start giving time. It's just that you need that one
Right,
nudge to kind of go get going, and then I think it's a journey which you would kind of just
right,
go on to. So I think
right,
that's what it was about for us. Moving on to the last question, Kushal, you would be reading a lot of stuff. You would be researching a lot. So you would be taking help of books, newsletter, podcasts, or anything which you come across, while you are researching. So what are some of the few recommendations you would give to our audience in terms of
Hmm.
some book recommendations or podcasts or any newsletters which help you grow, not just on the field where you are specializing in, but generally in life to upskill yourself?
Right. So I mean, to be honest, I don't consume a lot of content in my
Mhm.
life. I am more of a person who will, let's say, rely on my team at the same time, and I'll of course, like, if there's anything which is impacting my startup or impacting the industry, I'll read about those topics. So I just read like newspaper of Live Mint, and apart
Mhm.
from that, any specific podcast. I mean, I don't watch a lot of podcasts as such. Listen to them, but one which I like. Is this Joe Rogan one? I think that is
Right.
something which is very nice. And the reason why I watch his podcast is because since I am also into podcasting and you guys are also into podcasting, I want to see how he asks questions and like
Correct.
how he tries to keep it very natural and how he talks for 3 long hours with guests like Elon Musk, etc. So that is something which I am always amazed by the fact that like talking for 3 hours and people are also watching those 3 hours of content. I think the attention span is so down and still he's creating content worth hours and people are still watching that. I think that is something which is commendable, to be honest. So it's like an oxymoron where like people are saying attention span is going down and he's creating
Correct.
videos of 3 hours and still they are getting like crores of views. So that is one podcast. Then I think another podcast which I used to watch was the Lex Friedman one. एक दो
Yes.
episodes देखे थे. Lex Friedman, he's also very nice. He has a paper whenever he asks questions, so very
Correct.
sophisticated, very smart guy. And like he won't even mind if, let's say, he's reading out from the paper, if he's reading the question and all. That's like that is secondary for him. It's just that he wants to deliver the top quality content. That's the primary motive. And I think these are a couple of podcasts. Apart from that, any newsletter specifically, not really. But I think I got this recommendation from someone. The Ken, I think that is
Yes.
doing very well. They have like very good articles. The Economist is very well. They have good articles. I'm very lazy as a person to read a lot of articles. But yeah, I think that when I was in VC, I used to read that N Tracker daily. N Tracker, the
Yeah.
Rosie Pardada, N Tracker and BCCH. That is for startups and all. Then lastly, on books, again, I don't read a lot of books. It might sound contradictory because I am going to write a couple of them. But I think one of the books which I love the most is Zero to One by Peter
Yes.
Thiel. That is something which is really nice. Apart from that, I'm very like admirer of Saurabh Mukherjee also. Like I met him
Mhm.
last week only for my podcast. I like his books also. Very informative, very insightful. Coffee Can Investing, The Unusual Billionaires. Those are some books which I like. And
Right.
currently, I am reading this book called as this. I finished it, by the way. So it's by my friend only, Sarthak Ahuja, Daily Coffee and
Right.
Startup Fundraising. I mean,
Correct.
that's a very good book. He gives a lot of good examples also. I am primarily reading for that. So that is a book which I am reading as of now. I mean, that's just over only. So these are some books which I've read. Apart from that, startups and entrepreneurship phase mein, तो you'll find a lot of books like even on finance and all. Like
Right.
let's say you'll find a lot of books on finance, startups, etc. So abhi ke liye to I've read these only. But yeah, I mean, if you guys can suggest me anything better, I'd be open to that.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. I usually consume a lot of content, at least on the reading side. So I'll probably send you a list. But I generally am a book buff, so I give specifically half an hour every day to read books. That's a part of my daily routine. So I think that really helps you grow or learn or get. For me, it helps me get some ideas also that I can write on or I can speak on and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think this helps. But yeah, I think thank you, Kushal. I love the conversation. Your story in 1 hour would be a powerful package for a lot of people who are listening to us to kind of understand how to grow from CA to CFA, working with one of the best companies in India, to be building your own content behemoth. So I think it was a wonderful episode, and absolutely love the conversation. So thank you for taking the time out and coming on the podcast.